The first evidence I have of photographic evidence I have is that of my great-grandfather. His name is Carl Eduard Peterson, who was born in 1834 and was, like all that particular generation, turned out to be a farmer in East Prussia. My grandfather was drafted almost immediately into military service. He was sent to France. He was an artillery captain. My father was a young cadet at the Cadet Institute, the military academy in Berlin. And in 1914, he was given an emergency rapid commission. He became a second lieutenant almost immediately was sent off to France. And he was all of 18 years old. I have a picture of him as a young man here, which I think we'll have scanned later on. And I have a picture of him, a couple of pictures of him as a young man looking like a boy in 1914, 1915 in military uniform. And I have a better picture of him also in the field. He already has his Iron Cross second class in this picture here. And again, I have a picture of him at the end of the war, after which he had achieved his rank of first lieutenant, and he was wounded, which was a matter of extreme good luck for him. So everybody wore pocket watches, carried pocket watches. I have here examples that my grandparents left me of a pocket watch, which is, I think, the oldest existing pocket watch. It did not even have a wind-up mechanism. You had to use a small key, which I have here, to wind up the watch. And if you open this particular watch, open up the back lid, you will see that there are two wind-up holes which had to be used with a key to set the time and also to wind up the watch. An old piece of equipment which financially is invaluable today, I'm quite sure. It still works. Once in a while I'll go and wind them up to keep them from getting too calcified. Well, in 1945, we had recovered from diphtheria, and my father decided that the Russians were about to win the war in the East. And sure enough, in early 1945, the Red Army advanced into Germany through Poland on a wide front, and the first refugee columns began to arrive in the small village in which my parents at that time lived, where my father worked in a relocated office area. My father says, well, let's try to get out of here. Now, he knew enough about military events to know when to leave and how to leave. And he says, okay, we all have our bicycles, put everything we have on bikes, and pedal westward. And we did that, and he managed to get us toward the west. That was the time of my first contact with Americans. They were trying to kill me. Needless to say, they did not quite succeed. It was a P-51 Mustang fighter bomber that was used by the U.S. Army Air Corps in those days for long-range reconnaissance and interdiction. And two of these airplanes saw my father, my mother, and me on bicycles, and I was in short pants, crossing an open field, pedaling along. And one of them thought it might be fun to take us out. So he came down and used his machine gun. My father says, "Get into the ditch, quick!" So we dived into the ditch by the road, the wayside, the quarry pit, and we pulled, for protection, I pulled my bike on top of me. It didn't do any good, but I saw the machine gun bullets hit a few meters away from us, and the flight went on. They took off again. And that was my first time I'd ever been in any contact with any U.S. Thank goodness that particular pilot was a hell of either a bad shot or just didn't give a damn. He wanted to do some target shooting. Well, the first Americans I saw were GIs riding these funny little vehicles, which I thought, what kind of funny cars are these? Jeeps. Okay. And so I looked at him. I spoke about one word of German, one word of English. That was breakfast. I was hungry. So I walked up and saw the GI. What do you want, kid? Breakfast. What? Breakfast? Breakfast. Oh, okay. So he gave me some sea rations, which to this day I love. Anytime I go into Boulder, I stop at the Army store and see if I can buy some sea rations, leftover food, which I opened up. I have a pack upstairs, Patty. Why don't you get this for me? It's on the table. And I have these sea rations. The old ones were cans. Today they're the MRIs, meals, MREs, meals ready to eat.